workshop session. I hope you grabbed your lunch and you're elbowing up to the table today to be with us as we learn about budgeting. A little bit unique for us today is that we're not just going to teach the typical budget workshop. We're really going to do a deep dive into your money personality and your money type. And why is that important? Because it's hard to budget. It's hard to budget. It's hard to stick to a budget. It's hard to be consistent. And so if you match up your budget methodology with your money personality, you have a higher probability of success. And what we do here is we always teach people to take control of their money. So matching that personality with your budget methodology is extremely important. We're going to talk about the 6 steps of budgeting and a few of the budget methods. We do have some takeaways for you today to learn a little bit about that right budget methodology to match to your money mindset. We're going to do a 30-day money move before we end out today, and then set you up for success in the next 30 days of launching your new budget. And we're going to go right ahead and get into your money personality type. Now, for those of you that are with us today, what we're trying to do is really kind of create your mindset. So putting into perspective who you are and how you think about money, actually, more so how you think about money. So when you think about money, there's always a word that comes to mind. It could be something like anxious, optimistic, strategic, control, and clueless. It can be so many different things. This is your word, not mine, but I want you to put that word in your head. Get it top of mind. Come up with that one word. If you're with us today, drop in the chat what that word is. Otherwise, I'm going to share my word. So my word is inconsistent. And being a money manager, being a financial coach, my name again is Lisa Lickard. If I didn't state that at the very beginning, I am your trainer for today. And even with that money mindset that I have, my word is inconsistent. So drop in the chat what your word is if you feel comfortable doing that with us today. And we will help you match your word with your money mindset. Okay, now with your money mindset, with that word that you have, Jordan, do you have the personality types and the money types available for us for today? Go ahead and pop those up. So what we're doing now is we're taking that word that you identified and we are relating them to one of the phrases that Jordan's going to pop up on the screen now, or I think maybe even a survey, Jordan. Whatever you have ready for us today, go for it. And it really
popping it in the chat now, guys.
Ooh, nice. Popping it in the chat. Okay. So check out the chat. I'm going to verbally run through it for those that don't have easy access to your chat today. So in the money personality and money types, these are things like the saver, the spender, the avoider, the planner. I think we can all conclude what these definitions are. The giver, the risk taker, the security seeker, the status seeker, the dreamer, the student, the compartmentalizer, and the resenter. And so in the chat, check out some of those definitions. If you want to reference it after today's session, no problem. We're going to follow up with you in an email. We're also going to make some of this available to you on our social media channels, so make sure you follow. All right, so I said I'm inconsistent, but at the end of the day, I love control. And so even though I'm inconsistent, I have a conflict of wanting to be in control, but having some challenges with consistency. So I'm actually I relate to 2 of these. I relate to the planner because I like to be able to have control. And so I have a forecast, I have a budget, I'm planning ahead. But because I'm inconsistent, I'm always trying to learn new things. So I'm a student as well. So I want to learn how I can better manage my money, how I can do things a little bit differently, how I can really kind of create some excitement around my money that then incentivizes me to be consistent. So these 2 things are really important for you to know, not just that word that you identified at the very beginning that makes you feel what it makes you feel around money, but also these personality, these money types. We're going to come back to that at the very end, and we're going to match you to the right budget methodology. All right. With me so far? Let's get going. Well, computer, are you with me so far? Yes, you are. All right. Manage your money effectively. So this is all about financial wellness and financial empowerment. If you take the time to make a workable budget, it's not only going to help you pay your bills, but it's going to power your future and help you build your wealth. It is really about kind of learning how to have every single dollar have a job. None of us really have been raised to just know about money. Many people don't have this in their families, their communities. Maybe we definitely know it's not in school unless you take a specific finance class. And so really understanding kind of your money and making sure that you have a job for every dollar. So 6 steps for budgeting. Set your goals. This is not a surprise. You have to set your goals. That's how you have to know exactly where you're heading. Now, you want to remove all of the negatives. There's a lot of negatives and sensitivity around money, right? I don't have enough money. I'm not getting enough income coming in. Maybe it's something you're anxious about in the future. So there's a lot of negatives. And in this process, you want to obviously remove those negatives. But you also want to make sure you're gaining equal ground on the positive side, and you're really focusing in on your goals in the future. So you have to set up those goals. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to use SMART goals. Write these down. What is this saying? If it's up here, it's a dream. If it's on paper, it's a goal. And so write these down, but you want to write them down with some intention. You want to make sure they're specific. You want to make sure you can measure them. You want to make sure they're achievable. Is it realistically achievable with what you have going on in your life right now? You want to make sure it's relevant. It's relevant to you and your situation. And you want to make sure that you have time-based goals. It's not a goal of, hey, I just want to get better with money. That's not a SMART goal. Being specific is, in the next 30 days, I would like to do 2 classes that teach me how to maximize my money. And I want to be able to use one concept from each of those classes in my life. Boom. So that is a SMART goal. See the difference? Gotcha. Okay. Okay, start small. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So start small. A lot of people that start their budget, or maybe even refine a budget you have, you're really thinking about retirement and traveling and all of these big, hairy, audacious financial goals. And that's not what this is about. You really want to start small and you want to build bigger over time. Once you get a hang of tackling some of your short-term, smaller goals, then you go for those big, hairy, audacious goals. Accountability. Again, I mentioned on your goals, write them down. If it's in your head, it's a dream. If it's down on paper, it's a goal. But there really is a connection between writing something down and, the brain, kind of training the brain, right? Put it out into the universe and it will happen. So write this down. And they talk a lot about your accountability partners. You definitely want to involve your friends. You want to involve your family so they know what's going on and everybody's on the same page, locked arms, marching towards the same goal. But I go a step further and find an accountability partner. Many people choose their spouse or significant other because you know so much about the money together. But I would encourage you not to make that selection in your accountability partner, because we grow old together, right? That's what we want to do. And we kind of know each other's quirks and we kind of know how to work each other to do what we want to do. Accountability partner, right? When it comes to money. So find somebody in your life that you know that's going to tell you the hard, honest truth of what you should be doing versus what you're doing. All right. So find accountability partner. So you're going to have eventually those long-term, short-term, and immediate goals. Don't forget what you want to achieve long-term just because I said start small with your goals. You still want to, what the saying is, start with the end in mind, right? So you still want to have some measurable goals, both here in the short term, something maybe a handful of years out, 10 years out. If your kiddos are young, then maybe that's something relating to college, and then your long-term savings. All right. Identifying income and expenses. So just take a few minutes and think through this a little bit about your situation. You want to be tracking your income coming in. You want to be tracking your monthly expenses. Now, everybody is I shouldn't say everybody, but we tend to use our bank apps. So you can log on to your bank account. You can kind of see what's going on, making sure maybe your check is direct deposited, those types of things. But there are features in our bank apps that can help us track our expenses too, not just our income. So if you haven't been tracking your expenses or you've lost track of your expenses and want to do something very easy and simple, jump on that bank app and take a look at that function of tracking expenses. Start today going forward. Don't stress yourself about what has happened. You can only take control of what's going to happen, right? So tomorrow is another day. Maybe tomorrow you're going to start tracking your expenses and being mindful of what those expenses are. And then you just have to keep top of mind on anything that might just be more seasonality, more seasonal type of expenses, and expenses that vary month over month. So your gross income, this is going to be your salary. This is going to be capital gains, bonuses, any type of interest income that you might have. This is your gross income. You want to really base your budget off of your net income. And what that is your take-home pay after those deductions, after the taxes. Okay, this is what you're budgeting on. So you're taking your gross income and you're going to subtract out those deductions and taxes, and you're going to get to your monthly net. But what happens if you have irregular income? We encourage you to use the last 3 years of your income and divide that by 12 to get to your monthly income. And once you get to this income number, we do want you to set up an account. And you're putting all of your income into your account, but you're withdrawing that average monthly income number we just calculated. And so if taxes aren't withheld from that income for whatever reason, then set up another account and put those tax dollars into that account. There are high interest savings accounts that are still getting 4.5%, no minimum balance, no transaction fees that you can set up for this money for both the accounts of the main regular income coming in and any tax account that you might set up. Those are free to set up. You can set them up right now on your phone. And so we encourage you to do that. Again, taking control of your money and making your money work for you. So every dollar has a job. So we were talking a little bit about that app that you were jumping on. So keeping track of those expenses, just making sure you're looking at your credit card statements. Some people, I'm guilty of maybe a couple months under my belt and then looking at it, I'm having automatic payments and then looking at it and going, what did I do? What's that? And I'm having these crazy conversations with my husband and then having this palm to forehead, experience. So just stay on top of things is really the recommendation. Everybody's different. Maybe you are a receipt tracker. Maybe you are a journaler. Maybe you like to use your Apple Notes, whatever the case might be. But just find a way that works for you to track those expenses. Yes, your phone app is going to be a good option. Excuse me, your bank app is going to be a good option, but you really want to do something that works for you, that you can be consistent with, even if it's just a spreadsheet or a notebook that you're listing in. Okay, so start your budget. You're going to categorize things with your fixed expenses, your variable expenses, and your periodic expenses. And why is this important? Because information is power. So when you stay on top of these things, you know exactly what's going on. You're going to have a better chance of putting a budget together or maybe refining your current budget and being consistent. So your fixed expenses are things that are absolutely fixed, like your car loan. Maybe you have a car payment, you got rent payment, mortgage. This is going to be insurance every month. This is going to be memberships that you have to pay for on a fixed period. Variable is going to go up and down. What you spend on groceries, if you go out, entertainment, if it's the time that you need to get your hair done, whatever the case might be, in those expenses that kind of go up and down and have that variability to them. Periodic is car registration. It's going to be insurance. Maybe if you pay your insurance on a quarterly or an annual basis, this is going to be a periodic expense. And defining needs, savings, and wants. So I don't necessarily agree with these arrows depending on what budget methodology you're using. So kind of ignore those arrows right now, but the topics are very important. So your needs, your savings, and your wants. So your needs are what you have to pay for first. You have to roof over your head, food, those types of things. Your savings is what you need to allocate in order to be able to start marching towards those goals. Your wants. Now, your wants are going to be things that are over your savings that you want to do. This is a lot of entertainment things. Maybe this is something where you, this is vacationing beyond your normal savings, those types of things. Now, these are some examples of needs depending on your profession. But one of the things that I always say when you're dividing your needs and your wants, that it's your list. It's highly personal. So your list is going to look a lot different, and it should look a lot different than your friend's list. And that is because you have to prioritize things that are most meaningful to you. Somebody might think a gym membership is not essential, but it could absolutely be essential to your health because you're not going to be active otherwise. So just remember, this is your list and this is a no judgment zone, and you need to decide what is your needs and what are your wants. Plan of action. We talked about goals. We talked about those SMART goals. We talked about identifying your income, your expenses. We've talked about all of kind of the foundational pieces, right? Now it's time to action. We're going to cover a couple of budget methodologies in today's session. However, we do have a takeaway where we're going to pop into the chat at the end of the session that will help us match, again, that budget methodology with your money personality. So if you're a planner like I am, you love that 50-30-20 rule. So this breaks down your money in 3 buckets. The first bucket is all your necessities, which is that 50%. Your 30% are your discretionary expenses. This is kind of a little bit more on your wants side. And then you have your savings and your debt payments for 20%. Some people try to get that debt payment into the necessary expenses of the 50% of your income. That could be one of your goals, but using this budget methodology, that's currently a part of that 20%. So as you're thinking about your goals, maybe one of your goals is to get those debt payments into that 50% bucket and then have 20% investing in savings. All right. This is also a very good tool for beginners just because it's very structured and there's no guessing, right? There's no guessing. It's 50, 30, 20. The envelope budget. This one's fun because you touch money and nobody touches money anymore. So I have to look in my wallet just to see if I have cash because we don't carry cash anymore. So this one can be a little bit fun. If you like things that are tangible, if you really need to control because that debit card in your wallet is way too easy to use, then the envelope method is going to be your method. You're also going to use the envelope system if you're a security seeker. We were talking about that. We'll talk a little bit more at the end. And you're going to use it if you're a compartmentalizer. That's pretty obvious because what is the budget method? You're putting a cash system into sections of your life. It could be groceries. It could be entertainment. It can be your have-tos. It is very specific. We had a situation where one gal in our in-person budget workshop said, I can't take my significant other with me to Costco because he just puts all the things in the cart and we can't stay to our budget. And I said, use the envelope method and bring only the cash that you have set aside for groceries. And he has to control that cash while you're inside of Costco. And that can help you control the spending. I wish I was a fly on the wall when they went to Costco next time, but that is something that I thought was really interesting to share. So if you have those types of struggles, the budget method, the envelope methodology is best for you. Pay yourself first. This is also called reverse budgeting. So in reverse budgeting, you are allocating money for you, for what is specifically important for you. So in many cases, it is savings. Like you can't get ahead, you're living paycheck to paycheck. This is something, if you're in avoidance, where you just don't want to talk about money, you just don't think you have enough money. For those people with that money personality or that money mindset, this is really good. What this does is you can set it up anyway, but we always recommend that you set it up small. So with your employer, you set up a high yield savings account over here, and with your employer, you complete a direct deposit. And every single paycheck, money goes to that high yield savings account. And you don't see it. It doesn't hit your main account. It doesn't hit where you spend from. It doesn't hit where you pay your bills from. You can start it at $25 a paycheck. It doesn't matter what you start, and then you increase it over time. But what's going to happen is you're going to stay focused on those bigger savings goals, and you're going to start achieving those because it's not hitting your main account, and you don't have to think about it. And so it's a reverse budget, because then the money that you have is right there in your account, and you're budgeting off of that. All right, hopefully that makes sense to everybody. Okay, the goal here is just to organize your budget, right? You want to prioritize, you want to make sure you're not spending more than you earn, clearly. That's why we're all here kind of talking about budget, because we all struggle in some way, shape, or form of controlling our money. And you want to make sure you're ensuring you are balancing your budget. And the very first step, of course, is to focus on those expenses, follow your money, see where it's going. You will be surprised. We all are when we do that. Okay, this slide is interesting. Okay, so 73% of Americans, most of their purchases are unplanned. So impulse buying, 73. And then look at that, you're in bed. 43% of your purchases are in bed. Social media, 48% social media. So what does that tell you? If you love social media, you got to control your time on social media, because that's probably controlling your money, not you. So these are really interesting statistics that I love sharing, just because everybody looks at it and goes, well, yeah, I kind of get it. So some of the stress levels associated with our money are absolutely self-generated, and we do have complete control. We got to figure out what budget methodology is going to work best for us. Life happens. This slide really just talks about life happens, right? You have to review your goals because life happens. It could be a big significant change in your life. It could be maybe a long-term goal change because something was going on. You are increasing your income. We want every single person with us watching today to be increasing their income. So we want to make sure you're adjusting your budget when that happens. Reducing your expenses, you're paying off a loan, or something happens to where you get a discount on something that's a more routine expense. Wouldn't that be awesome, getting discounts versus increases? And then just stay accountable and track everything. If you don't see it, it's not true. So we talked about this with goals. Make sure you write them down. They can't just be in your head and you just know that they exist. You must write them down to make them real and tangible. And then you are drilling back to them, right? Your budget's exactly the same thing. So if you choose an app for your budget, and you choose an online resource for your budget, absolutely fine. But how are you going to have that visual in your daily life? So that could be something that you print off and put up on the refrigerator. That could be something that you have, you have a spreadsheet. Just figure out, or a visual, figure out how to make that a visual representation of your budget. Maybe it is a picture. Maybe it's something that reminds you of your bigger goals. So whenever you see that, it helps you remember your budget. Delay gratification. This is a little bit of a preachy slide, so I typically don't spend too much time on it, but we all have to be patient. We all have to stay focused. That accountability partner is absolutely important in order to be able to be successful in building wealth, because you have a budget. Remember, it's about building wealth. It's not about managing expenses. A budget is making your money work for you and maximizing your money. And so, when you are doing those impulse buys, just remember, is this going to help me build wealth for my family or for my future? Probably not. So it's a little bit easier to do that sanity check when you're in those situations, when you have a budget in place to build wealth, not just control expenses. All right, don't quit. That's why I have this slide still in here, because it's don't quit, don't quit. And a lot of people do because they don't have the right budget methodology. And it's not aligned with their money personality. So we're going to go right back to the beginning and remind everybody of their word. What was that word? And then also remind them of their money type or money personality. What was that association? You might remember mine was control and inconsistent. And we decided that my money personality had to do with me being a planner and a student. Jordan, do you have the PDF dropped in the chat for those that are with us today? And if you're not with us today, go ahead, Jordan, sorry.
Dropping that in the chat now, guys.
Awesome. And if you're not with us today and you're watching us on YouTube, check out our social media page, comment on our YouTube channel that you would like this, and we will absolutely get this to you. We want to make sure you have the tools for success. Follow us on social media if you're not already. Okay, so now I'm a planner and I'm a student. So under the document, as you open it up and take a look at it, associating with my situation, you see I'm either a zero budget or I'm a 50-30-20. Now, I started with a zero budget, which is every single dollar is managed and planned and approved. And that's under the planner side. And then I realized, because I'm inconsistent, I can't do that. So then I flipped to the 50-30-20, and it gave me the flexibility I needed, but the structure that I needed as a planner, right? So my inconsistent side was like, okay, I was able to define what that 20% meant to me. Going back to that debt comment that I made, debt could be in the 20%, debt could be up in the 50%. I also can control my definitions of wants and needs. And so I had that control to where I was able to find a place where I could be consistent, but it was structured enough for my planner side. So that gives you an idea. Jordan, what is your budget methodology? Or maybe I should say, what is your money type? Are you a saver, spender, avoider, planner, giver, risk taker, security seeker, status seeker, dreamer, student, compartmentalizer, or resenter?
So it's a little weird because I resonate with the saver and the spender. Just mostly for me, just because the saver, like I do feel secure when money's in the bank, and I love a good deal. And then I had the spender as well because I do find joy in treating myself and others, and I do celebrate. I do spend to celebrate and or cope. So those both resonate with me.
Those resonate. So yours is just a little bit different on your budget type. Your methodology, you're going to fall into something called a 60-20-10, which really kind of gives you that 10% of fun. Right? So you can have that celebration to cope that you need with your money. And when you find a good deal, that kind of thing. But you're going to have 60% with needs. So your wants and your needs kind of like your wants are more like your fun money, right? So the 60% is going to be your groceries, going to be your fixed expenses. It's going to be your variable expenses. That's your 60%. Your 20% is still going to be savings. You're going to strive for that. But you got your 10% fund money. So that really helps you then with that saver side, because you've got your dedicated 20%, but it is making sure that you're living your best life and giving you that 10% that you need in your life in order to kind of I say skip in the meadows, but I think you get what I'm saying there. So
that makes the most sense, and that actually does resonate the most with me. So this
nice. Very good, very good. So a lot of things that happened in our in-person budget session that I want to share with you guys on today or watching today is people were choosing their budget methodology based on my presentation. So I gave three types, and you just saw with Jordan, I didn't talk about the type that falls into Jordan's world that would be the best methodology. So as you're at home or wherever you are, kind of going through the money types, money personality, and you're going through the budget methodologies, don't gravitate to the ones that you're familiar with. Really challenge yourself and take a look at the budget methods we've provided to you and choose the one that does match with your money personality. And I bet you will have more success at either refining your budget or starting a new budget. I do want to make note, though, on the third page of the document we're sharing, we're giving you some tools to explore. We do not represent any of these tools. We do not get kickbacks for any of these tools. We're not affiliates with any of these tools. In fact, there's a couple tools on here I don't love, like Ramsey Solutions, because it does limit you into somewhat of a box. But what I do like, and the reason why we provided these to you, is to try to make it simple. Life's hard. It's complex. You don't have the time. So jump on some of these links and you can access the budget types that we talked about and shared with you today. All right. Are we ready to make a money move? Jordan, you ready to make a money move?
I am. Let's do it.
All right. So what I want you to do is take some time to reflect on what your money personality is, determine what your budget methodology is, what resonates with you the most in your money personality. And then what do you want your money to help you do or feel over the next 30 days? So spend some time, about 5 minutes, and answer those questions. The biggest one is, what do you want your money to help you do or feel in the next 30 days? All right.
If you check out the link in the chat, everyone, those questions are on that survey. So you guys can put your answers in and we'll have them saved for you moving forward.
Oh, that's great. And that reminds me too, if somebody's watching from home or at a later time on the recording, what we would love for you to do is comment this information, or send us your how to reach you. And what we'll do is we'll send you these worksheets and we'll send you this information directly so you don't have to chase after it. We'll get it to you. Then the next section is plan. So you're going to list one habit that you're going to start in your next 30 days. What is your money move? What is that one habit you're going to start doing? Again, doing things differently to drive different results. What are you going to start doing? Is it automate your savings? Are you going to track your daily spending? Are you going to use envelopes? Are you going to download a tool? What is one thing, just one? And then you're going to be specific. So when are you going to do this task? Are you going to do something every Sunday at 4 p.m.? Are you going to choose Wealth Wednesday? And in the evenings after dinner, you're going to pop in and take a look at what's going on with your spending. Are you going to set up a budget tool by, next Wednesday, next Financial Friday, something like that? You get the point. And then tie it to your goal. Why would this help you? Why did you make these choices? Why would these steps help you? All right. And then we're going to make you commit and take control over your money. And what we would like everybody to do that's on today is to write down these answers to these questions. Jordan, you said you had it in the chat. We'll make sure we follow up an email as well. Yeah. Okay. And then maybe in the description of the video that we post to YouTube, so we can get people going. Okay.
Absolutely.
You want to write this information down. You want to send it to us. Why do you want to send it to us? Because we'll be your accountability partner and we will help you. We'll check with you in 30 days. No judgment, right? We're in a safe zone. We're here to help. And we will help you take the next steps of your budget. We want to hear from you. We want to know how you're doing and where you need the help. Sound good? Your money move. All right. So who the heck are we? I am the founder of Unique Growth. We were founded to make sure everybody had access to financial literacy. We provide financial coaching and financial services for all. We do not have minimums. We do not say you have to make so much money. We do not sell products. We provide coaching. We want to make sure you have a balanced approach, and we customize your financial roadmap for you based on your journey. And the only way we can do that is have a conversation. So on the screen, you're going to see a QR code. Scan that code, book an appointment, and let's just talk. No obligations. If we can help you, we will. If we can't, we're going to find who can. But it could be a conversation that we're just talking about debt. Could be a conversation we're talking about credit building. It could be a conversation we're talking about investing. But again, it is your journey, and we customize everything to you. All right. Now I have to tell you what resources we used, and we're going to continue on those resources and the citations we used, and a disclaimer that this is for education purposes only. So Jordan, did I do my job?
Absolutely.
Awesome sauce. Well, everybody, thank you so much for being with us today. We hope we have the opportunity to get to know you better on your financial journey and your road to growth. Bye-bye.